If you have houseplants, you may have already seen them. Tiny jumping bugs in the soil. White ones, brown ones, little specks that move so fast, you start wondering if your plant has fleas. You water the pot, and suddenly the surface comes alive. And at that moment, most people do the same thing. They panic, grab the plant, move it away from everything else, and start searching online like the whole house is about to be taken over. But here's where it gets strange. Some people are trying to kill these tiny bugs, while other people are actually buying them on purpose. So, what are they? Are they pests? Are they helping your plant? And when should you actually worry? Today, we're looking at 5 things people get wrong about these tiny jumping bugs in plant soil. Number one, they panic when the soil starts moving. The first thing people get wrong is the panic. And honestly, it is hard to blame them. You water your plant like normal. Maybe it is sitting on the windowsill. Maybe it is outside near the garden. Maybe it is one of those plants you have already saved 3 times and now feel personally responsible for. Everything looks fine. Then the soil moves. At first, you think your eyes are playing tricks on you. Then another tiny speck jumps. Then another. Suddenly, there are little white or brown dots flicking across the soil like the potting mix has come alive. And that is usually the moment the calm plant owner disappears. Now you are leaning over the pot, squinting at the soil, trying to work out if you have fleas, mites, baby grasshoppers, or some brand new creature that has chosen your plant as headquarters. This is where people start making decisions they did not plan to make 10 seconds earlier. The plant gets moved away from the others. The saucer gets checked. The spray bottle starts looking very tempting. And someone starts searching tiny jumping bugs in soil while pretending they are not already thinking about throwing the whole pot outside. But these tiny jumpers have a name. They are called springtails. And here's the strange part: even though most people call them bugs or insects, springtails are not actually true insects. They belong to a group called Collembola. They still have 6 legs, which is why people often lump them in with insects, but their bodies are built differently. The name springtail comes from the way they move. They have a tiny spring like part tucked under their body that can flick them into the air when they are disturbed. So when they jump after you water the soil, they are not attacking you. They are not launching a takeover of your plant shelf. They are trying to escape. Springtails love damp places, which is why people often notice them in plant pots, under outdoor pots, in garden beds, mulch, compost, leaf litter, and other spots where moisture and old organic material are sitting together. So the mistake is not seeing them. The mistake is thinking that the second the soil starts moving, your plant is doomed. Because springtails are not the same as aphids, thrips, mealybugs, or fungus gnats buzzing around your face like they own the place. They are tiny soil animals. And once you know that, the whole scene starts to look a little different. You did not necessarily discover a plant disaster. You may have just disturbed a hidden little world that was already living under the surface. Number two, they think they are killing the plant. The next thing people get wrong is blaming springtails for killing the plant. This is where things get messy because not everyone sees springtails and thinks they are harmless. Some people find them around weak plants and instantly blame them. Seedlings collapse, peppers struggle, orchids look sad, cuttings fail, and then the tiny jumpers appear in the soil like they have been caught at the scene of the crime. And when your plant is already looking half dead, it is easy to think like, there it is, that is what killed it. But springtails are usually not sitting there chewing through healthy roots like tiny plant vampires. Most of the time, they are attracted to the material around the roots: damp soil, dead bits, rotting material, fungal growth, old leaves, soil that has stayed too wet for too long. So sometimes people see springtails near a dying plant and think the springtails caused the problem when really they may have shown up because the problem was already there. It is like seeing cleaners at a messy house and blaming them for making the mess. If a plant has root rot, soggy soil, old dead leaves, or roots that are already breaking down, springtails may gather there because that is the sort of place they can feed. That does not mean you ignore a struggling plant. If the leaves are yellowing, the plant is wilting, the soil smells sour, or the pot stays wet for days, something is wrong. But the first thing to check is not just the springtails. Check the watering, check the drainage. Check if the pot is sitting in water. Check if the soil has gone heavy, sour, or rotten, because killing the springtails will not fix soggy soil. It will not heal rotten roots, and it will not save a plant if the real problem is that the pot has become a tiny swamp with leaves. So before you blame the jumping bugs, ask the better question: are they killing the plant, or are they showing up because something in the soil was already breaking down? That is why this mistake matters, because if you blame the springtails too quickly, you might kill the one creature cleaning up the mess and completely miss the real reason your plant is struggling. Number three, they don't understand why anyone would protect them. This is where springtails get really confusing because one person sees them and says, "How do I kill these things?" And another person sees the exact same creature and says, "Do not touch them. They are helpful." That is a strange thing to hear when you have just watched your plant soil start jumping. Nobody wants to be told, actually, those creepy little things are good, when their first instinct was to move the plant outside and pretend they never liked gardening. But this is why springtails are different from a lot of pests people panic about. Some people actually want them around, not because they enjoy watching tiny white specks launch themselves across the soil like they are late for a meeting, but because springtails can be useful in the right place. They are often used in terrariums, bioactive tanks, isopod setups, ant setups, worm bins, and living soil because they help keep damp organic spaces cleaner. In those setups, mold and waste can build up fast. And since nobody is climbing into a terrarium with a tiny sponge and a bad attitude, springtails become part of the cleanup crew. That is the part that surprises people. The same little jumper one person is trying to destroy in a plant pot may be the same creature another person is buying on purpose. And this is not just some weird internet hobby either. It makes sense when you understand where springtails belong. They are soil animals. They live around moisture, leaf litter, compost, mulch, decaying plant material, and damp places where tiny life is already working. In gardens and living soil, they are part of that hidden system most people never see. So when people defend springtails, they are not saying, please enjoy having hundreds of jumpy things in your bathroom. That is different. They are saying that in soil, compost, mulch, terrariums, and garden beds, springtails are often doing something useful. That is why the argument around them gets so heated. One person sees a pest, another person sees a helper, one person wants to kill them, another person wants to add more. And the truth is, both reactions can make sense depending on where the springtails are. If they are in soil, they may be part of a healthy little cleanup system. But coming up, this is where the story changes because springtails in soil are one thing. Springtails jumping around your bathroom, sink, floors, or walls are a very different problem. And if you've ever seen springtails in your pot plants, garden, bathroom, or anywhere inside your house, hit the like button and subscribe to Creepwise. We go through all sorts of tiny, scary looking creatures that live around your home and garden and explain which ones are harmless, which ones are helpful, and which ones you actually need to worry about. Number four, they don't know how to eliminate a house infestation. This is where springtails stop being interesting little soil creatures and start becoming a problem. Because springtails in a pot plant, compost, mulch, or garden bed are one thing. Springtails jumping around your bathroom, sink, kitchen floor, walls, window tracks, or damp corners are another thing completely. At that point, most people are not thinking about soil biology. They are thinking, why are there tiny jumping things in my bathroom and how quickly can I make them disappear? And fair enough. Nobody wants to walk into the bathroom and find what looks like the world's smallest jumping committee having a meeting near the sink. If they are inside the house, you can remove the ones you see, vacuum them, wipe them up, wash them out of sinks, tubs, and showers, clean the area properly. Some people also try sprays, pest control products, diatomaceous earth, silica powder, peroxide, neem, or even repotting plants if they think the source is an overwatered pot. But this is the important part. If you're using anything around plants, pets, kids, drains, or food areas, be careful and read the label first. Some quick fixes can hurt the plant or make a mess without solving the real problem. Because with springtails, killing the ones you see is only the emergency cleanup. It is not always the cure. If they are showing up inside, start looking for where they are surviving. Check wet plant saucers, check overwatered pots, check bathroom corners, check around sinks and drains, check window tracks, check damp walls, leaks, and musty areas. Springtails need moisture. So if they are turning up indoors, the house is giving them something they need. Getting rid of them starts with removing the visible ones, but the real answer is usually hiding in the damp spot they keep coming from. Number five, they think killing them is enough to stop them coming back. The final mistake is thinking the job is done just because the springtails you saw are gone. This is why people get so frustrated. They clean the sink, they vacuum the floor, they spray the corner, they finally relax. Then the next day, there they are again, bouncing around like they have unpaid rent and no shame. That is because springtails are usually not coming back just to annoy you personally, even though it may feel that way. They come back because the conditions are still right. Moisture is the big one. If there is a leak, a damp bathroom, wet plant soil, water sitting in saucers, humid rooms, wet mulch near the house, rotting leaves, or a drain area that never really dries, springtails can keep finding a way to survive. So the long-term fix is not just killing them, it is making the area less springtail friendly. Let soggy plant soil dry more between watering. Empty plant saucers, remove dead leaves and rotting plant material, fix leaking taps, pipes, or drains, run a fan or dehumidifier in damp rooms, clean around sinks, showers, tubs, and window tracks, move wet mulch, compost, or leaf litter away from the outside walls of the house, seal gaps around doors, windows, pipes, and other entry points if they are coming in from outside. That is how you stop the cycle, because springtails in soil can be useful. Springtails in your house need attention. But if you only kill the ones you can see and leave the damp conditions behind, you have not ended the problem. You have just made room for the next tiny jumping family to move in. So, if you've ever seen tiny creatures like this around your plants, garden, or home, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Creepwise. We help you understand the creepy crawlies most people panic over before they know what they're really looking at.